5:31 PI Pacific Mornings with Aggie.
Fatalofa and welcome back to Pacific Mornings with Aggie here on 5:31 PI, exactly 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. As we all know, New Zealand's newest Prime Minister Chris Hipkins will be sworn into government tomorrow as the country adjusts to its new normal. He'll be joined by Deputy Prime Minister Carmel Sepuloni, who will also be sworn in. This morning we're joined by former politician Anae Arthur Anae, who was the National Party's first ever Pacific MP. Anae joins us to share his views on the country's new leadership. With that, I say talofa and welcome to the show this morning.
Talofa, and yes, it's great to be here with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, happy belated New Year. Again, thank you for joining us. I would say off the bat, let's start with your views though on Chris Hipkins as the new Prime Minister. Do you think the Labour Party made the right choice?
They had a difficult choice, but Chris has proved that he's got the ability to mix it, and I've watched him many times on TV presenting. I think they did.
Yeah.
He's got a tough year ahead of him. It's a real battle, and I won't say which way he can go. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, if we can go backwards a bit.
Sure.
Let's talk about the former Prime Minister. Look, I'm a person who gives credit where credit's due for a start, so we clear that. There's no Prime Minister in the history of New Zealand that I'm aware of that has put New Zealand at centre stage of the world than she has. I was in Dubai after the Christchurch situation. Look, I was wearing a New Zealand hat or a t-shirt. They came out of the shops and saw me, and they went like this: Jacinda, she's our number one. Honestly, this happened right through the Asian area with the Muslim people. And who else has got a face on the Burj Tower of the world?
Right.
No New Zealanders made that. Who's made front page of Time? Not many Kiwis, I don't think, ever has made that yet. So when I say what she's done, nobody comes close. Nobody comes close at that level. And we've got to give her that credit.
Yeah.
The problem she's faced with is people below her and the policies they've introduced into New Zealand have destroyed a lot of things we're trying to do here. Policy based on envy doesn't win, right? And they seem to have been attacking those who built this nation, which are the people who are prepared to make an investment in business or farming to build and give job opportunities to people, right? And that's where it says right now, and that's where the problem lies. And that's why wherever I go in this country, they say, when do we get rid of these guys? And they know that. Their polling is telling them this as well. So I'm hoping that Chris has seen the light and saying, hold on, there are things here we've got to relook at. The backbone of this country has always been farming.
Yeah.
Always been farming. And all they've done is... Oh, but not so I was going to say...
That's another show.
But it's a word that means everything.
Yes.
But anyway, you know what I'm saying. And so where are they going to go? If we kill the farming industry, we've killed everything for exports in this country.
Yeah.
It is our strength. And then you look at the housing problems of New Zealand. We're talking now that people can't afford to pay rents. Well, they can't afford to pay rents for the simple reason the price have gone up of the housing. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The money interest rates have just gone up. That's another thing. They took away interest rate deductibility from the investors. In business, every cost is a cost that's tax deductible.
Yeah.
They've changed rules on this. So the end result of that is only one thing. The rent has to go up. And guess what? Who pays in the end when the rent goes up? You and me, who pay taxes through subsidies. Where do you win? The simple answer about if this goes up, if wages go up for a start, the product that you're producing has to be sold at a higher price, right? And guess who's buying that place at the higher price? The person you just gave that wage increase. So what did you gain?
Absolutely. No, that's so true. So then really, change of leadership, do you think there's going to be something different that Chris is going to bring? Were you shocked that Jacinda really did step down and resign?
No, I had picked this for some time. It was very clear from the feedback all around. The country had enough of what Labour has been delivering. And their own internal polling would have told them very strongly, you're not going anywhere here, right? So you take her position. She's built up a name internationally.
Yeah.
And the reaction from the world after she resigned told us that. Now, she has humility. And personally, I think there's an international job out for her with humility requirements. And she would fit that like a glove.
Sure.
And I think that's where she's going to go. That's my prediction. And she was smart to move. Let's put it this way. If you move while you're on a high, you're respected. If you get defeated, you're a nobody. Doesn't matter what you did, you're still a nobody.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right.
And if you analyse those who moved before her, when they read the polls and were saying you're going to do Google as they ran.
Then are you happy though to see that we have our very first Pasifika Deputy Prime Minister in the likes of Carmel Sepuloni? What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely brilliant. You know, absolutely brilliant. I mean, let me tell you the difference. The Labour Party and their strength has been this, for me, irrespective of their failures. They have brought the true face of New Zealand into Parliament. How many Pacific MPs do we have there?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, I was on one, and they mistreated me, right? And so here we have a lot of Pacific people now, a number sitting with portfolios, one now the Deputy Prime Minister. Then we look at the other nationalities that are in there holding positions. So they've been sharp to realise if we don't go with a bulk like this is a real face of New Zealand, we're not going to win.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be very blunt and say, if the National Party doesn't change its thinking towards this type of thing, they'll be history. It doesn't matter how good their policies are going to be, there's another side to the coin. You know? And it's not just one side.
Yeah.
And what you've got to remember about politics, and I've always said it, it's a pyramid, right? So the National Party is always aimed at top end of the pyramid, the wealthy and these people. But that top has got nothing to do when numbers come to the bottom. Now, if you can't push downwards to reach more at that midsection down and get those numbers on your side, doesn't matter what you got. You could have $1 trillion, you're still not going to win.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, money doesn't count. A vote goes to everybody equally in this country. That's the bottom line.
I mean, does National then not understand representation, having to see our very own within their party? And I know you were the very first Pasifika National MP. You know, it's just, it shocks me, I think, just as an everyday person, to not see someone like me within your party.
Okay, so yes, I was the first, and after I left 6 years before Sam came along.
That's right.
You
Yes.
know, and I'm a person, as I'll give until it hurts. Cross me and it's all over. I just walk. I don't suffer out, and I don't beg for anything. And I won't ask for anything. That's the way I operate, right? So I never beg for anything. I expect them to realise what I am, what I can do, and pick up on that. And that's where you go.
Sure.
Not ask for it. You know. So now we have some young people in there, and I'm impressed to see them. They're trying very hard, and I can tell you point blank, if they don't recognise they have young Pacific people there and others, and start bringing them into Parliament and elevating them, they're going nowhere.
Yeah.
They're going to go nowhere. And this time around, I'm pretty sure they're going to probably win the next election, because there's a lot of ill feeling towards what Labour has done. And unless Chris Hipkins in the next few months can throw and ditch those policies that they did that caused so much anger out there, they're going to get nothing. Now, it's easy to do. They know the policies that people are affected by.
Yeah.
They just got to put a knife out and go, that's gone.
Yeah, and they have. He has said that, right? He has
Yeah,
saying
we're
that.
gonna
He's
watch.
supposed to, so it is a bit of
We're
a
gonna
wait
watch.
and see space. Absolutely.
We wait and see. But you also got to realise that National themselves said, we're going to get rid of this, do this, right? Will they? Now, let me tell you something else that happens out there. When they come in and there's something nasty that Labour had done, but it's a revenue collector, they're just going to say, we can't touch it. It was them. They did it, not us. But we have to leave it there. So they cream the money that's coming in to do what they want to do, but blame somebody else who did it.
Do you feel just the face of politics itself has changed massively, or is it just the same, just a different type of way it's being played at the moment?
I think the Labour Party has led the way to say, we are New Zealand, these are the faces of New Zealand, and we represent them equally, and that will always give them strength and power. How do we feel right now? As Pacific people, we're on an elevator to a high today. We have a Pacific person who's now the Deputy Prime Minister.
That's right.
I never dreamt of that. I never thought I could say, I got to be very honest here, I never believed we could have 10 or 11 Pacific people in Parliament,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Maybe yes with Labour, but with others, that's a dream, you know?
Yeah.
As I said to people once, I could drop dead and come back in 100 years, things will be the same. And I think they will be, you know. But
Yeah.
no, look, absolutely brilliant that Carmel's there. And I know she'll do a good job.
Yeah.
Carmel's proved herself. And all I can say to our communities, get behind her.
Yeah.
You know, get behind her. And I think the most important about getting behind her is this: front up and be honest. If there's something wrong, tell her straight to face. You got to sort this out, girl. You know, that's the job. And she's got her other side of it with her policy demands and pressures from within. You know, that's where the difficulty. It's finding that balance.
Yeah.
And I think she's done a great job in what she's doing now in the social issues, right? But our people do have to be careful, because sometimes when we have somebody sitting in the right position, we think we can control them, and they will do what we want. Well, it doesn't work that way.
I want to ask though, Anae, I mean, look, we are in election year.
Yes.
And whether or not it's a very strategic move to make Carmel be the Deputy Prime Minister, do you think it's just a bit of a tick the box that Labour are doing?
No, I don't think so. It's a smart move. It's yeah, we can always be cynical and say all sorts of things, and people will always do that. But the fact is, when you look up the line now, but I'll be very blunt, it's a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be real about it. Chris Hipkins and Carmel have taken on a suicide mission. You know, Japanese suicide bombers, really, to come and fix a problem which is impossible to fix in a short time.
Yeah.
Right? Impossible to fix in a short time. The things they can do, they can change things very quickly and say, yes, with this. But people say, oh, yeah, that's a lot of garbage. When you come back next year, you're going to go back and do what you did before. I mean, this is how people think, and people have been trained to think this way because of action that's been taken.
That's it.
Right? And so, I mean, it's like, if I go back to National Party, there's certain people in there, I said, my advice to you, don't even put your hand up. Because you're going to go down the Googlers and you'll go down with it. And let's face it, when you do go down, people remember that you went down, right? And that always rings in whatever you do.
Yeah.
But if you go out on a high like Jacinda's just done, hey, they'll always remember that.
Of course.
You know, I think over time people will remember what Jacinda did to put New Zealand on the international stage more than the failures.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the future.
Yeah. Can I ask, is there anything that stands out that should be coming for election year, what any party should be really presenting to us as Aotearoa?
As the people of New Zealand, look, okay, we've had a tough time, and there were tough decisions taken over COVID, but we saved our people. And too many people criticise and this, and they think of themselves. Do they look at the big picture and see where we're getting? So you got to give credit where credit was done there, and we did all right there. The nation has to go forward, and no government can go forward until it's economically stable and strong. You know, and we are not alone in this. This is a worldwide situation we're all living in, not just a failure within New Zealand. It's worldwide, and we need to keep remembering that. But my advice to them is that, first thing, who drives this country really is the business people, the people who take the risk, right? Now, this is what people in unions don't want to understand. You take the risk, you borrow the money, you develop the business, and you try and go somewhere. But all your staff are saying, I'm a union member, I want my share. I want my share. And their share is more than yours, and you're supposed to give them the job and pay them. And when you go down the gurglers, who goes down? They go down with you. Right? And that's what happens. So we've got to, if you don't get behind and find solutions to the people who take the risk to make the businesses happen and develop it, you're going nowhere. Now, the biggest failure we've had for 2 or 3 years now is the shortage of labour. Right? Now, I can tell you, we have people who are here, absolutely fantastic workers, and they can't do it. You know why? Thousands, and I mean thousands, are waiting for immigration to give them their PR.
That's it.
You know, and if I've got one gripe, is get off their backside and make things happen. How would you like to be a Filipino worker here on a dairy farm who's got his family he hasn't seen for 3 years? He has children that have been born and he's never even touched yet. He can talk to them on the phone. You know, do you think that's acceptable? I don't. And it makes me very angry when I think about that, and what the hell are they doing about this? And it's a piece of paper they can sign and get it going. Why do they stretch it out? Why? So these are things, if I'm going to pick on them, yes, I will pick on them, because I have seen the reality of these people and their lives. It's just unacceptable.
Thank you for that. We're going to actually keep our eyes and ears on that and try and get someone to come in and talk about that, Anae. So thank you for that. Other news, though, because I know you are very big on businesses, you know, and that you look after a farm too. So I really wanted to ask, so, you know, this whole use of cage hens being phased out from January the 1st, which has actually caused this big egg shortage throughout the country. As a director of a chicken farm yourself, what really actually needs to happen in order for the demand of eggs to be met? I mean, should we be considered to buy our very own chickens?
No. Look, people have talked about that.
Yeah.
Sure, you can buy half a dozen chickens and they're all right for a few days. You got to keep feeding them every day.
Yeah.
You got to give them water every day. You got to look after them every day. And if you don't, you're going to find corpses lying outside.
Wow.
It's simple as that. So investment's just gone out the back door.
Yeah.
But the situation is this, that worldwide there is an egg problem, not just us, right? So the Western world made its decision that cages are going, it's inhumane, and they've done that, right? So the only places that have cages is Asia, and some in the Pacific who are producing eggs. But other countries have a bigger problem than we've ever had. They have got avian flu, which is a chicken flu, and when that strikes, they'll kill all the chickens.
Wow.
They've got to get rid of them. Thousands and thousands have to be destroyed, right? We don't have that in New Zealand. That's why we do not import chicken meat of any sort or eggs and things like that. We have to protect that. So I give 1,000% credit for that. We need to do that. Situation is this. For 10 years we've been told that the cages are going, right? The only reason I went in about 6 years ago now, I read the writing was on the wall. The future is free range eggs. So I made my move, right? And that's what it was. So as we were coming along, the problem was this, that I think there were a number of farmers there, they're old hands, been there a long time, made their money, didn't want to invest again to make the changes and let it go, right? And so we had a situation where 80% of New Zealand's eggs were cage, gone. So now we're down to 20% of those trying to move fast to bring in the free range stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the future of, at the moment we have this situation where pure free range, where the chicken can get out and go for a walk and come back. You have barn where they roam inside a room like this, a big barn. Or we have colony. Now colony is a cage that holds 50 chickens. You can stack them 12 high in a building.
Wow.
Yep. And that's been accepted in other countries of the world. But I have now been told in New Zealand by 2026, our supermarkets are not accepting them. They're gone.
Wow.
Right? So the future for us lies in two things. It's going to be pure free range like I'm doing, or the barns. So just to give you an example, in barns, in the broiler meat business, we have 12 massive barns, which is 180 metres long by 16 wide. They hold 50,000 chickens each, right? They don't go outside, they just roam inside, right? And so at a certain age, they're taking out, so you start thinning them out, because you know, they come in like this, 41 grams, and they go out at 3 kilos, and they're not going to all live in the same space at 3 kilos. So they're going to move them out, right? And so coming back to where we are now, what happened? We had a massive shortage of chickens being ready. For example, in my case, I went in May to order my chickens for a August delivery so that I could step it. They said, we can't even take your order, we can't place it till August, and you won't see your first chickens until December, right? And that's what happened to me. And they won't start laying until about now. And then we just took some on the 11th of January, and be another 6 to 8 weeks to get those. So that's pushed me back into a situation I just can't supply enough. And I supply to 40 countdowns, and I can't even do them at the moment, let alone my little tidy people who come to me. So this is a massive situation. In a way, it's done some good. It's forcing the supermarkets to relook at their structures, because I think my assumption is this: those who were supplying them in a big way, because of the shortage, the people who deal directly with the cafes and the restaurants, these suppliers, right, they set themselves as a business. One call to you and you get your meat, your fish, your chickens, all in one hit. As a cafe owner, that's easy. One phone call, it's all done, right? So those guys were running short to supply their market. So I think the guys who are supplying the big stuff to the supermarket is diverting over here because they're getting a better return, right? And so we're now finding a change of thinking, which is great within the supermarket structures, how they work in the future. That's a plus. But it doesn't eliminate our problem right now, right? We just have to live with it. Look, I said to someone the other day, eggs will be $1 each, irrespective of what anybody says. And say, people, wow, that's because we used to pay 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents. But the reality is, health-wise, you can live on one egg a day. right?
Right.
And for $1, that's the cheapest food you can ever buy. So why do people bitch and moan about things? I mean, I've seen everything. You go to McDonald's, you're paying $20 for a meal, just about, right?
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
Even the Asian supermarket stuff used to be $7 a meal. Now it's costing you $15-20 a meal. So are they ignoring everything else going up and expecting us to suck it in and lose money? And of course, the biggest problems of the egg industry is the massive increase of feed. Feed's gone up 300%, labour costs going up, all these things just go up and up and up. I can tell you from every facet, from the carton you get your eggs in, the box of the carton, every one of those things have all gone up. And in business, if it doesn't come in, you can't do anything.
And I really want to quickly ask though, because you are in a place of business, you're looking after a chicken farm. You know, I often think our people, we come from looking after plantations. We look at, we are farmers from where we came from. Why is it that we don't sort of equate and follow through and still continue to be like that here in Aotearoa? Because, we just end up being brought over to be factory workers often. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as I was sarcastically saying to some people who go up and say, look, mate, I didn't come off a banana boat wearing a lover and jandal, okay? Hitting your fat head now.
Yeah.
Because there is an attitude out there towards us that we were brought here to be factory workers and that's the way we should be.
Yeah.
And so the failure is this: we came out for that, we got good money for that, we get lazy, just go and stand in the factory, go home, have a big feed, get fatter every day, and this type of situation,
Yeah.
And we get lazy, really. If anybody that's here now, in their 40s, says, I'm going home to start a big plantation, yeah, really, that's a joke to my, really, well, are they going to get down and do the dirty work? No? The only thing you can do it is that maybe you've got the money to pay somebody else to work.
Sure.
But even that is changing, I've talked often about this, that the world changes because of education, not for the better. Right? Now, that may be hard to comprehend, not for the better. Let me give some examples. In the Pacific, we've worked when we had nothing, and we had leaders who really directed what happens. Well, when you get a country that's now full of highly educated people, are you going to tell me what to do? Who the hell do you think you are telling me what to do? Right?
Yeah.
And if you look at the Arab states, all those young people are highly educated. And mark my words, you look at the future, what's going to happen there as they rise. You're seeing it already.
Yeah.
Right? They're rising for change. They're rising that you guys are not going to just take this money for yourselves anymore, it belongs to us. So all this change is going on, right? So for us, look, I know there's some people, I've got to give credit, the Tongans are pretty good at this. They get land and they make some plantation and everything else, right? And they are around the countryside doing it. And there are opportunities, right? Look, if you look at even now, I see people selling the tallow leaves, right? So someone's doing it. Up north, they're now growing bananas. Palangi's doing it, not us. And pineapple, So the climate change has allowed some of the stuff, the tropical stuff, to start growing up north.
Yeah.
But your question is valid. I think the problem with most people is they want to see an immediate return. Okay?
Yes.
And in business, you don't get that. Business is the long haul. You've got to go in there, make that investment, sweat it out, and keep believing in what you're doing that you'll win in the end.
Good old sweat equity, isn't it?
And if you don't believe in that and you give up, you're a loser.
Yeah. Look, Anae, it has been a great opportunity just to have you have this Talanoa with us this morning. Really appreciate it. Look, just all the best. I know you're going to head out to the chicken farm after this, and hopefully we'll be getting a little bit more eggs coming through the stores. But look, it is. It's just I love hearing you. I love you being very straight up about a lot of the subjects that we spoke about this morning. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. I always enjoyed talking to you guys.
No worries.
Brilliant.
That, of course, is a former National Party MP, Anae Arthur Anae. If you missed this interview,